and we can avoid the overcrowding of the people at one place. After this, then separate entry and exit point may be suggested by the filling centers. Then avoid of entry of driver beyond a certain point of time always be followed. Up to what level or up to what point they are allowed and this is not be carrier. And again, a very important point that digital mode of receipt and payment should always be followed. And this should be followed at each and every point. Besides this, at dairy processing units, there may be different certain changes at managerial level. There can be a person who can be designated as COVID officer or COVID contact person or whatever you give a title to that. That person should have all different kind of details related to this diseases and prevention and control. Then there can be one identity isolation rule, and always these GSP should be in enforcement at dairy processing unit. Then there should be a restricted interpersonal department movement as far as possible. The movement of the person from one department to another should be avoided, and there should be maximum work should be through digital modes. Then we can also avoid the exchange of physical documents. As more and more digitization will be there, and this kind of physical documents or touching of these documents can be. And a very important point with each dairy processing plant will be that there should be a perfect liaison with the local authorities or competent authorities for maintaining law and order, the control of this pandemic. And of course, the periodic review of the situation at plant level within colleagues, within workers, at everyone so that immediate certain changes taken care of. Then cleaning and sanitization of the plant will always be taken into consideration. Of course, we are doing it now also, but more efforts and more rigorous cleaning and sanitization of milk plants will be required. At reception and dispatch dock, we should not allow drivers or cleaners of the pickup vehicles or the delivery vehicles and freshly released packaging material or any other material that is being required by the plant or factory should also be kept under at a different stored at a different place, and it should be sanitized before using. At another point of there these kind of personnel they are involved in cattle feed plant. So they also have to follow the same guidelines. Other than that, they may go also spraying and fogging of the plant quite frequently. Second last point is the depot, wholesale distribution and retailers. They should also avoid the non-essential visitors and the gatherings, meetings, and they should also adopt as far as possible digital communications and digital exchange of they should avoid this. Of course, the consumer should also be very much aware. We have an aware consumer, then it would be very good even for the good quality of product because if consumer is aware, then everything right from the production processing is well taken care of. And it will be the demand of the consumer what kind of product he will be requiring at the time of purchasing or at the time of getting a product. Consumer puts certain questions to the retailer and all, then definitely the whole supply chain is going to improve quality and all. So in addition to these guidelines, because I have said all these in very brief, Indian Council of Agriculture Research and DDP, NTRI, they have framed certain guidelines and for farmers and entrepreneurs, and they are available on their website. Anybody can go through them in detail because they are very specific in nature. Since this COVID is affecting at each and every stage of the supply chain of the food and dairy sector, and especially during transport and distribution, because there are travel restrictions, there are border closures, there are physical or social distancing, then one can imagine that everything is being very well affected. But we can complement our these dairy industry and of course our own country or our own government, that despite all odds, there was an uninterrupted supply of the milk during COVID lockdown. Because if supply of the food or milk product would have not been there, situation would have been entirely different. Food is the essential requirement for every living being, and if food was being made available at doorstep, that would be one of the most important parameters for the successful lockdown during this COVID pandemic. Because it is being said that there is no love greater than love for food, and you cannot survive without food, and food is the essential requirement for each and every living commodity. So COVID has already affected or disrupted the milk supply also and the food supply chain also, and will keep on affecting near future too, because we are guessing that there is a possibility that in near future also that we have to live with this COVID for couple of months to couple of years as far as our guessing. So I am just repeating that one because we are not expert in that area, so we don't comment to that one. So when we say that effect will be at each and every step of production, like whether it is from animal to industry or industry to consumer, so it is very very difficult to guess the real consequences of COVID and post-COVID situations. Being the situation more complex, it is the situation is very complex, whatever it appears theoretically, and the picture will be really clear after 6 to 9 months from now. And present predictions may be only a direction of work, but they may not be absolutely and fully correct. They may be partly, or they may and may not be really correct. There are multiple factors, internal or external, but I would like to highlight some of the factors of these that will affect the processing, transportation, distribution, and at market or retail level is the availability of manpower. In dairy sector, there are nearly 100 million uh, people are directly or indirectly are involved, and out of these million workers, many are informal workers, seasonal workers, migrant workers, marginal workers, and all. And the majority of them are not having either regular or assured income. The problem will be with them, and now they are already under migration, and it will be very difficult to take them back, reach them back, start fresh. And another will be in the change of the consumer behavior, because consumer was in lockdown for a longer period of time, and his food regime has completely changed. One out of compulsion, then out of fear, out of knowledge, and many more. On the other hand, home versus market product will be a new kind of discussion, and many people they will have their response, changed response to consumers, to hotels, restaurant, catering, canteen, mass, marriages, party after lockdown. So now consumer is very much aware and he can be very choosy whether to go to hotel and restaurant or not. Can minimize visits to these places. And once there will be a minimization of these places, then there can be a bit change in the geography or demography of the movement of the consumer, and also the movement of the people from the urban to the rural area. And then, as you are seeing that a lot of these people are migrating from urban areas on villages and rural areas. So this urban to rural shift also will lead to certain changes that dairy and food industry have to look into it very seriously. And this milk and milk product can also be transfer replacement of the meat protein comparatively, because now there is a possibility. I'm not saying it with 100%, but there is a possibility in the shift of non-vegetarian to the vegetarian. Even if little shifting is there, can be changed to receive. Of course, with this topic, there are several other uh, topic of points like excessive milk, panic buying. There were many things, and now the excessive milk is being converted into SMP. What will happen to this SMP? Uh, Rates are already down. Earlier we were thinking to import this single powder, but now we are self-sufficient. During lockdown also we have doubled our stockpiling of this SMP. On an average, 1,500 metric tons is being produced daily. But the credit goes to our cooperatives that during lockdown also they have procured milk very efficiently, very effectively. Rather, they have uh, procured surplus milk to the extent of 10 to 15%. And on the other hand, there was a decline in the consumption. Of course, the home consumption was increased, and that has taken care to a certain extent. And now, day by day, every day, this consumption of milk is increasing, and our industry, our cooperatives are doing very well. And very interesting thing in order to protect the interest of farmers. Well-off cooperatives, majority of them, they have not reduced procurement price, but few of them might have done. On the other hand, these dairy farmers or producers, they have their own problem of increased cost of production, feed, etc. So they have to bear with it. On the other hand, there is a decrease in the sale of the milk. And third one, if there is a reduced procurement rate, for incentive, to overcome this incentive may be given by the farmer so that they do not have great income farming system. Now, in the end, because I'm looking at the time and my other learned colleagues are also in queue, the best, one of the best impact of the COVID, the dairy industry, what I perceive, what I think, what I assume, and what may happen is the improvement in the quality of the milk. Because of this COVID, though this appears to be a blessing in disguise, because we are improving our quality out of fear of this COVID. But of course, we are if we improve, are able to improve the raw quality because of the awareness right from the production to the processing to the marketing and at consumer level. Now everyone is well aware of hygienic practices and all, and we will see that there is a sea change in the quality of the raw milk. And if quality of the raw milk, the number of unanswered questions solved, and there will be the improved dairy product quality. And if the improved dairy product quality, improved shelf life of the milk and milk product is there, consumers are going to benefit it. There can be minimum foodborne infection, foodborne intoxication, many more things. So it is going to be a big boon if that happens. So, and it is we may consider it as a very big and positive change in the sector. That if everyone is aware, because there was a lack of awareness of different steps, but it is time that everyone is very well aware of quality and all, and you may be looking around you that people while making shopping these food products or milk products, now they are even looking for the dates and all. And when our consumer will be start putting questions, then definitely he benefited and it will put pressure on the producers or on companies to produce to manufacture best and best quality product. So if they don't maintain quality, then they don't survive. So I think I have tried to say most of the I was thinking. There are, of course, maybe many more issues on this topic, but let us listen to our new colleague. Thank you, Arvind, and thank you, DC Raisa, for giving me this
Thank you, sir.
opportunity. Good luck.
Thank you, sir. Sir, thank you. I once again grateful to you, sir. Now I request our next speaker, Dr. Ashutosh Upadhyay, sir. He is professor and dean at NIFTEM, Sonipat, and I request Upadhyay, sir, for his talk. Sir.
Thank you, Dr. Arvind. At the outset, I have to express my heartfelt thanks to the Dairy and Food Engineering head, Dr. DC Rai, for providing this opportunity to interact, the gathering of professionals, food professionals in particular, and to make me the part of this panel, which is an August panel of the experts. Thank you. Now, connect first thing which has to be there for the purpose of this COVID. Dr. Arvind has said that and he would also be allowing for the sharing the content. So Arvind, are you allowing to share the content? I am ready as per your request, what you said. So Dr. Arvind,
Sir.
Dr. Arvind, are you allowing to share the content? What you expected? Just now you called me up that we can share the content also for a visual.
You can share slides, sir. I'm asking
I think that sharing point is blocked by the service provider. So if they could connect, meanwhile I'll just start my talk. No problem.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So you can continue. I'm asking.
You ask them to just indicate, or you can indicate on my phone. So fine.
Yes.
So
Yes, sir.
now starting with what Dr. Punia, my co-panelist, Dr. Punia Sahab is there, Dr. Alam is there, Mr. Tripathi is there. Dr. Punia has well covered the aspects, and particularly the safety aspects at length. Being microbiologist, he is really an authority to say on that aspect. COVID has been unprecedented event. Today I was seeing memes. Somebody has published some memes on internet. So 19 memes together, and their unprecedented word was really taken in a big witty way. So still, I'll say unprecedented, though there has been precedence. Means we have been in the situation for last almost 3 years here in India, and more than that across the globe. So for this, not going to the numbers which are there, but still we have crossed the important highlighting point is we have crossed 90,000 number in India just in 3 months. Now coming to the main focus, which is today's talk, today's discussion is dairy and food processing sector. It is really good, and no research so far has indicated that food is really a carrier for this disease. Food may be food is not under threat. It may be a risk, or the supply chain may be under risk, or maybe I can say that more vulnerability may be there in the supply chain, but it is not under really great threat, I would say. There are increased risks to some extent. There is we need to address the safety for the consumer. There is the question which is there for the labor availability. And in this light, what need to be done? The best basic throughout the food chain, when we talk from producer to the plate part of it, everybody has to be seeding up some of the innovations, some of the adaptations for survival, for the quality, for the in interest of the consumers. So what kind of challenges which this industry has intensified, with this situation has intensified? Mainly, I see that though we have been fortunate to, in India in particular, that from lockdown one itself, the food processing industries were made open. They are made open on one side, but there were certain norms. They were made open under certain norms. So for that regard, there are challenges in productions. And at the consumer side, when we see then whatever we bring to the home, even a packet of milk, we are really scary about the safety and that surfacing. Is it going to be safe or not? So for that purpose, what the steps which we need to take? Punia has already indicated that there are specific guidelines. I'll also add up that there are guidelines and there are best practices also, which some of the industries has shown a way. The problems which are intensifying at the production at the shop floor, that's one part of it. We also add that in terms of the supply chain, if we look in terms of the producer side, the producer whenever they have to bring something to the market. Yeah, now I believe that my sharing of the content has been allowed, so I'm sharing my slides also, so that will be more visible in fact along with the audition. I hope slide is visible. Some Dr. Arvind, if you can confirm. I have shared, so I understand that slides are visible. If not, also then that's fine. So what we are focusing today, we are focusing dairy and food sector. So hope if this slide is visible, this is linking in terms of the dairy an example. This is an example whereby a supply chain producer, a farmer producer company, which is trying here in Delhi NCR. They have been a good consistent supplier of the good quality milk, safe milk throughout this COVID. And though they were in market before COVID, but specifically they have got the consumer acceptance and confidence as well in terms of their claims, what they are making in terms of their delivery. So this kind of trend or some innovative approach we need to take when we say that amid COVID or post-COVID. Post-COVID, we do not know that what is the post-COVID real scenario, when this post will really a post. If we take this example, social capital enabling. So this is again the supply chain aspect when the producer is linking to the market. The individual producer was not able to do it. There has been several incidences where the farmer was not able to sell, particularly the vegetable producers, and were not able to bring their produce to the market. And in that light, they were not able to getting the cash and buying the next crop agri inputs. So what is done? A small group of technocrats, they came to help the farmers. They made a group, and then thereby they are aggregating farmers and linking them to the markets. So and organized and not exactly in FPO term, but yes, and in a collective way. Then going further, there is important to achieve food security and handling the malnutrition. During COVID, the food has been scarce for some of the people. The life has really been tough to them. So for them, even the food was a challenge. So keeping that means the nutrition was certainly not there. And we know that all of the aspects which are related to the health, which are related to the immunity, they are related to the nutrition what we are getting. So can we think of bringing nutrition post-COVID in terms of our agri input, where we can have more varietal preference in terms of nutri-rich, nutri-intense kind of variety to be sown, to be made processable, or so on. So this is for whole agriculture gamut of the scientists. They need to look in terms of the post-COVID arena. Some of the points of the safety and standards has been covered, and Dr. Punia also indicated that our regulator has taken up the steps for the purpose of that safe production and for the safety of the consumers. So in that regard, I'll say that this is the link which those who are interested can get, and this document can be downloaded. I would just touch upon the ABC point. when we are handling the food items. Personal hygiene has been hand wash and alcohol-based sanitizer. These two things has been highlighted a lot in media, and that kind of lesson to be learned by everybody. So probably that lesson is now known. But bringing it to the shop floor, what should be the routine? What should be the exact protocol to be followed? Adding to the respiratory hygiene for the workers, wearing mask is one part, but social distancing for shop floor specifically is also important to make it effective. Frequent cleaning, disinfection, I'll take in the subsequent slide. Before that, I'll say that social distancing has been real challenge. The availability of the labor on one part was really difficult. Now, what is the normal production schedule? You have to take some around 1/3 of the labor to be in. So how to plan the production, how to meet demands, that has been real challenge. And even when I was just sharing with some of the food industry friends of mine, then some of the industry has brought this concept of distancing starting from when you are getting in. Right from the parking, they have said that within the parking there is the distancing to be maintained, and then when you are coming to change your clothes and everything, so your contact has to be minimized right there. What Dr. Punia said, the screening part, that is really essential, and it's a prerequisite before we take any worker to the. So this is going to be there. This is going to be normal for at least time to come. Till when means none of us can probably predict now. This has been the question in food safety. Even in our home, the vegetable, how to clean the vegetable, how to clean the other food items. Is it good to bring the shop, that means normal soap is being used for washing some of the fruits and vegetable? What FSSAI is recommended, what is the scientific recommendations on the science-based safety studies? They have allowed the use of chlorine as a sanitizer, which that is for industry purpose, because in industry we are using sodium hypochlorite with as a chlorine sanitizing agent. In addition, that alcohol-based hand sanitization is there, but for the commodity, for the perishable products, for fresh fruits and vegetable, the washing is permitted. But important is how to take away the traces. Certainly, the practices of using soap has been both WHO and our own regulator has said that no, it should not be used. The traces are would really be challenge and will really cause some distress to the health system, gut system, and all that. So that way, we need to be little careful on this. And a hot water is really a good agent. And here we should mind it, and we should take it for our understanding that food is not here a basic carrier. The basic carrier has been the human who is really infected with it. So there needs to be taken in terms of that what is the surface which can carry the things. So the washing, and if possible a domestic level, I'll say that some ozone washers, they could be safe and better. Here means nobody can say that it is 100%, means this is not going to sterilize the thing. These all steps are to minimize the risk. And the risk and hazard case, food technologists, they are aware that when a risk can be there, turn to a hazard depending on the probability. All of us go on the road, but there is likelihood that there could be an accident. But we still go to the road, we minimize that risk. So this is a minimization of the risk. Now, looking into that, what shape the industry is going to take, what steps to be taken, what are the challenges that to be handled by a technologist. So quickly taking that, that we need to understand that R&D way, the future R&D, the consumer backward and technology forward was one of the things which was taken in the technology. or which is taken in the industry. Now we have to take both. Sometimes consumer would be backward, sometimes technology also needs to be backward, and consumer needs to come forward. What I mean to say in this, I mean to say that there are certain products where the safety is undermined or under question, and the consumer have a doubt. We need to bring technology forward and ensure that our products are delivered safe. Consumer forward in terms of the when there are products which consumer is really looking for, and then the industry which have a technology already, then they have to keep the consumer forward and ensure the trust among the consumer, whether today or post COVID, that is required. Local taste may under question if we call in terms of street vendors, but some bringing them to the organized sector may be a key and make them available the safety instructions, FSSAI guidelines, some training part of it. That would also be challenge for academic institutions like NDRI, NIFTEM, or BHU. We need to work together. That is the probably need of our, and it is actually this COVID is posing to us. Authorities, the legal standards, so developing local trust. When our Prime Minister called for local to global, this is also a key that local to global will go in terms of the way of the science. And the business principles also to be brought in for the purpose. Our ministry has already having some of the backward forward linkages schemes which are still on. Support is there. People may still rely on it. Small players can also. There is one good scheme which Finance Ministry has launched a few days back. So that is that they will launch, and that will more cover on the small and unorganized sector. So that could be a beautiful scheme. Likely the name could be the Gram Samriddhi Yojana. So to conclude on this, I'll say that it's the time where blessing and disguise are to be observed. We need to see that opportunity which are there likely, and processing. Still, I'll say that whenever whatever the consumer survey I had come across, I found that processed products, packed products are being relied better globally. So that is an opportunity for the processing industry. Food which is to be put to R&D or existing, there are possibility that we can have the more ingredient to call them immunobooster, or if we need to call them really immunomodulator, we need to go by the claims validation or the nutraceutical claims. Likely, I'll say likely the Sattvic and vegan will emerge, and after this, there the egg industry, the industry which is there for the meat industry, they have faced the great challenges in this tough time. So this is an opportunity for the other side of food chain, and we need to look for the innovative solutions for the food chain. That is all what I say for now, and that is all from my side. I welcome if the questions are there whenever there is an opportunity for it. Thank you, Dr. Arvind.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. I'm extremely grateful to you for sparing the time.
I am still not sure. Arvind, could you confirm that whether I was able to share my content, or I was just going for narrations?
Sir, I asked Mr. Shrey.
नहीं वो तो हो गया, बट आपने देख पाया कि नहीं देख पाया, मेरा सीधा प्रश्न ऐसा. अच्छा, शायद शेयर नहीं हुआ होगा, बट anyway what I wanted to say I have said. Thank you.
Yes sir, exactly. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much, sir. Now we have next speaker, Dr. Tanveer Alam, sir. He is a director in Indian Institute of Packaging. I request Dr. Tanveer Alam, sir, for his talk.
Sorry. Hello. Can you hear me?
Sir, yes, sir. Exactly.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm extremely sorry for this technical glitches. Now these days, always there is a technical problem. Although I'm very much familiar for this system, but anyhow, sorry for that. And very good afternoon to all of you. And I appreciate and thanks to the especially Dr. D.C. Rai and his team organizing such important webinar on this topic. And this is we know the whole world is facing the COVID challenges, and definitely food, when we talk about the food and pharmaceutical products and essential commodity, when we talk about that, packaging comes first. And the whole world realize that now these days, now the importance of the packaging. When we is crying for the essential commodity, and the third most after the essential commodity, food and pharmaceutical and drugs, that was it was realized that the packaging becomes suddenly so important. And when we have evaluated for last 50 days, we are evaluating what is the future of this packaging industry, because this is the packaging which is most important for the whole supply chain system. And the concern now, when we talk about, when we discuss about the overall scenario of the packaging, three words become so important. One word is safe, secure, and sustainable system of the packaging. And suddenly, the safety of a food along with the food, this packaging becomes important. That now the challenges is before the whole world is that how this the packaging will help for the safe delivery of the product to the ultimate user. And we know that when we talk about this different system of the packaging, especially food products, and then the packaging is taking a role in different levels, primary, secondary, and tertiary. And this is when we talk about this primary system of the packaging, one side it is in direct contact with the food, and another side it is directly interacting with the whole logistic system and customer. The concern is that now question arises. People start to raise the question whether this packaging may communicate this dangerous coronavirus to the customer. Then we have evaluated when we talk about this media of the communication is the human, but whether the packaging may also communicate this disease. Then we have evaluated this different format. Format is important because these different types of the packaging material is playing a role of the format, and then different packaging material, maybe the metal, maybe the plastic, maybe the glass, maybe the paper system of the packaging. Then different retention period when it is any virus is in direct contact with the food material, then there is a period of retention. Maybe for metal, it is when we talk about the metal system, the packaging, it is 4 to 5 days, and plastic system, the packaging format retention period is again for more than 4 days is there. Now the challenge is that how we can minimize this contamination, how we can sterilize it, and what is the best way to disinfectant. Although when we, especially this plastic as a packaging material, they are also impermeable to the water. Then liquid sanitation is maybe liquid system of the sanitation is very much successful or it can be implemented. But by the same time, when the packaging is used as a paper, this liquid sanitation system may not be successful. Then we have to use another system. So now the question arises, what we are evaluating being the packaging professional institute at the national level. So what is the future challenges? We are looking this COVID, post-COVID challenges will be there. We are looking at the blessing in disguise. This is the only packaging industry which has a future, which will go. We have to survive. When we survive with this COVID coronavirus, we have to overcome this problem. We have to develop now what will be the future. We can categorize in 3 different directions. One part of the system, what will be our system? Already our panelists, they have discussed our education system should be, we have to go for the more online system. And when we talk about this packaging material development, we have to be very innovative. We have to develop a novel system of packaging. Now, what will be the future area where we have is that the demand of the packaging will be we have to go for more automation. And another area is that we should be more untouched packaging systems. We have to go for more automation. We have to develop our robotic system of the packaging where minimum chances of a human intervention should be there. And by the same time, the whole packaging professional has to develop antimicrobial packaging systems like active packaging systems, and we have to find out any coating material or any packaging system, any packages where the packaging will be antivirus like the antimicrobial packaging system, or we have to work on more sterile systems. And by the same time, when we talk about the food processing industry, so then we have to own as process line. We have to develop another mechanism. We have to develop another system, the package, where the product, immediately after the filling, it should be sterilized immediately, so that the sterile whole packages with the product should, when it will be transported, before the transportation, it must be sterile. So we have to develop, industry has to develop where we have to package our food items, especially it must be sterile products. And so like that, so there will be another stages, develop stages pre for the packaging, and as well as post-sterilization is again important. And by the same time, we have to have a develop interactive packaging system where we can monitor like intelligent packaging system, intelligent tagging system, where the packaging can say, hey, your product is safe, your product is sterile. That integration is again important for the whole packaging industry to make a safe delivery of food and dairy items. This is what become important for the industry, important for the consumer, as well as whole supply chain, which is the packaging which can deliver the product to the customer in a sound and safe conditions. So this is what I want to say. This is the time, and we have to come together. We have to take institutional support. We have to develop R&D. We have to strengthen our R&D. In this manner, we have to formulate a packaging standard. Recently, DST has already what the future, especially we are talking at the academic platform. So you can collaborate with the industry, those who are manufacturing innovative packaging or novel packaging material. Then the government is very much positive. Government is very much supportive to develop novel antivirus packaging material or antiseptic packaging material, so that we can also explore. This is what I want to say regarding the packaging and the importance of the packaging becomes so important now these days in the whole supply chain. You want to ask some questions regarding that? And one more question people are frequently asking to the packaging industry, especially to me, that if the coronavirus can survive on the surfaces for 9 or more days, what that means that all packages and the Center for Disease and Control and Prevention says there is a very low risk of the coronavirus on the packages. This is the report. And similarly, World Health Organization also noted that it is very unlikely for the packages to be contaminated after being exposed to different conditions. So this is all. So industry needs to follow the, again, we have to develop standards for whole, to face the challenges. Industry point of view is that to formulate the standard protocol and strictly follow the same for the reception of the packaging, sealing and loading and unloading of the logistics to making and safety. Protocol to for the workers, handlers, and supply chain. Now, like other quality management, this must include the regular audit. Another important point the industry has to consider to packaging audits should be mandatory like other ISO and safety management systems. And always use sterilized packaging material for both incoming as well as outgoing materials. It may be the future labeling. Now the government is very much concerned about that. we are government at FSSI, they are thinking whether any safety labeling will be the future of this to face the similar challenges of any contamination or contagious disease are coming and spreading. So these are the few things what I want to say. Like I can summarize my whole talk. I can summarize my the whole talk in that manner is that we have to improve our processing part. We have to develop a novel packaging material, and by the same time we have to educate the entrepreneurs, the handlers, the logistics, those who are involved in the logistics, as well as because we have to stay with the this coronavirus for a long. So far, any vaccine or any treatment is coming. And now, for the industrial point of view, how the future demand will come. We have done some small survey for last 50 days. What will be the future prospect of the export packaging, especially? So we have seen there is a huge demand now for last 1 month. We have got will be flavor-based, fragrance-based, and pharmaceutical industry, bulk industry has a huge market, and packed product, especially even the whole world is looking, even the fruits and vegetables, fresh food item must be packed because this is the packaging which make a barrier for any sort of the contamination to the whole supply chain. So these are the few things concerned regarding the packaging of food products. Now, what I want to ask, like we have to, when we talk about the standard part, we need to develop some standards, especially on the labeling part. What I have already mentioned about that. In future, we can see like other mandatory labeling, we have seen the nutritional labeling and all. So now there will be the safety of the packaging material will be important now these days. Okay, whether your packaging is safe with packaging material. On this basis of the particular label will be given to the particular packaging industry for user industry. Then the any product is entitled is the particular packed food is safe or not. So this is another future, another challenge for the whole packaged food. And one will see what will be the else will be the safe, secure is important part, and third most important will be the sustainable. Again, when we talk about the sustainable part, now whole world is looking. Our packaging must be like biodegradable, sustainable, recyclable. So then again will be pressure will be there. What will be the export potential in terms of that? The future market for the biodegradable packaging, bioplastic packaging material will be there. And for that, we should be ready to make a packaging laboratory who can comply, who can certify the packaging material, whether the particular packaging material is sanitized, fulfill the phytosanitary criteria, as well as that we have to certify whether if any industry is claiming that the particular material in terms of whether it is from the natural sources or from polymeric sources must fulfill the compliances of environmental compliances. These are the future. And again, I would like to discuss one important point. The whole world is now using recyclable paste material for food items. So in India, we don't have standards or protocols to be followed for the rPET material. Now there is a need to develop standards as per the international norms we have to develop, and we have to enforce it that so that the future, when one side we are talking about that our packaging material must be sustainable, so by the same time we should have our own standards or compliances that should be regulated to fulfill the market demand. This is this few things what though I could not hear what the other speakers have mentioned, but I would like to mention about that the future of the packaging system will will round about the safe, secure, and accessible packaging system. And when we talk about the education system, we have to have more online courses. We have more online training programs. Especially now we have to face this is to minimize the contamination chances of the contamination and human, especially interaction, human chances of contamination. So then we have to go for the automation. More automation is required in the packaging and filling systems and online systems. And now we have to, for more effectively handle the whole packaging and logistics system, we have to adopt new system, packaging 4.0 system, where the less intervention and even we can regulate the whole operation of the packaging from on sitting on home. So this is the future, what we can say, the packaging system, packaging demand will be more innovative in terms of no touch, so that no touch we can say like, or zero touch packaging will be the future of the country. Yes. Can you hear me? Yeah, can you? Hello?
Hello. Sir, Tanveer, sir.
Yeah.
Tanveer. Dr. Tanveer?
Yes, no,
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yes,
Thank you
sir,
for... Sir, there is one question from
any person?
Yes, sir. Sir, there is one question from Mr. Hidesh Pandey. Whether packaging of fruits and vegetables with packaging will make product safe if already there is some contamination in?
Once again, can you repeat?
Sir, whether packaging of fruits and vegetable with packaging will make product safe if already there is some contamination in?
Yeah, of course, when we pack a product, already we are making the barriers. We are preventing any, we can protect against any extraneous material, whether it's a virus, whether it's a microorganism, whether any matter. So definitely, it is the packaging which improves the safety of the packaged material. Now, this is the coronavirus has come. So now we have to see what type of the packaging material will protect such a virus infection on the packaging. So it should not, as a part of the format of different packaged materials, should be communicated to the customer. So now we have to, what I have discussed about that, this system of, we have to develop in novel packaging material, which must be antivirus. We have to develop some coating material, especially we are working on some coating material. And during the processing of the master batch of in polymer material, it will be processed, then it can minimize, it can be helpful to protect against such a virus in future.
अरविंद, अगर इसी क्वेश्चन को तनवीर जी ने जो कहा मैं ऐड कर दूं, वो शायद ऑडियंस के लिए, जो उन्होंने कहा कि कंटेमिनेटेड प्रोडक्ट कंटेमिनेटेड डाल के अगर वो कर देंगे तो देयर आर लॉट मेनी पॉसिबिलिटीज, पर फॉर कोविड आंसर इज नो. आप अनसेफ दोगे तो अनसेफ प्रोडक्ट डिलीवर होगा. Now, how long you want to stay, what is the nature, whether that is surviving, not surviving. Punia Saab is authority and a microbiologist on it. So there are a lot of things in it. But there's no straight answer, but it is not that you are adding something unsafe and the package making it safe until unless what Tanveer mentioned, it is to be a novel antimicrobial coatings which are coming up on the way. But for a normal production, answer is no. So that there should be no confusion on it. That's all.
Yes, I agree. So far, that need to develop. That then again we have to fulfill the compliances. If any novel packaging material is being developed by industry, that we have to evaluate. That is not there. So what future is there? We have to be so like we never expect such a challenge will be there. Such crisis internationally will be there, but in future we can think about that, and we are very much positive. And definitely packaging may help. Definitely packaging will play an important bigger role in the future also. because without this packaging, the whole supply chain cannot be fulfilled. Yes.
Mr. Hitesh Tripathi, sir.
Yes, please.
Sir, please, sir.
Can you allow me to share my screen?
Yes, sir. What's the question?
Greetings to everyone. Thank you for
Yes, sir.
among such distinguished faculty. I'm feeling very nice to be a part. As an industry resource, I'm taking this presentation.
Sir, your voice is coming low. Can you just
Is it better?
come close to your mic?
Better now?
Better.
So I said COVID-19 food industry unlearn and relearn to survive. So why I'm saying unlearn and relearn because this is as we call the virus as new novel virus, and there are a lot of attributes of the virus which are not known to us still. This is for sure that we have to unlearn a lot of things which we have been following in our systems, in the way of operations, in the way of doing business, and we have to relearn so that we survive to the new normal. So, if I'm taking this specifically for the food and dairy, I would like to point out that it is now a survival game. For this year or year and a half, till we don't have a proper vaccination or a proper treatment for this virus, there has to be a different way of operation. I'd be giving a student flying low is the new high because there would be a lot of restrictions in the way we had been operating. And to develop or to evolve to the new normal will take some time, and we cannot be overnight drastically changing the entire strategy and creating bigger problems for us. So this 1 year, 1.5 years, or maybe 2 years, as the government says and everybody says that we have to adopt and start living with the virus. So this holds good for the industry, for the factories, for the farming, for the normal lifestyle, everywhere. I have tried to divide the impact of COVID-19 on food industry, dividing it into various sectors and trying to figure out which sector will be the most affected and which will be the least. So let me first start with the retail sector. In the retail sector, we have the dine-out formats, Horeca, QSR, cafe pubs. As you see in my presentation, they are all are red zones. These are the industries which will be very badly affected for the time to come. Am I audible? Am I audible? Hello?
Yes.
Modern trade, malls, multiplexes, PVRs, so they also require a lot of gatherings, and they would also fall into the red category. Luxury food product manufacturers, retail bakeries, mithai shops, they will fall into the orange zone because it will take some time for them to adopt to the new system and some time for the people to gain enough confidence to reach out to these their favorite brands or their favorite outlets. But gradually, slowly, they will pick up because they are more of a lifestyle products. So it is quite apparent with kind of Instagram images and Facebook images we see from the users that they are trying to adopt these kind of products in their lifestyle by making them at home. So they have kind of got into our lifestyle, and they are going to recover much faster. Fast food, street food, food vans, food carts, and takeaway stores. Since these places don't attract a lot of crowd, so the organized players or the players who are hygienic, clean will revive very fast, and also the new ones who can build in the trust and confidence among the users will also get to go very fast. Dairy booths, dairy kiosks, these have been doing well during the lockdown as well, and these falls into the category of essentials, although it is still a retail and it requires people walking in. But I see a lot of app-based meal delivery popping up, app-based dairy product companies popping up, and they will survive much faster. Hotel, catering, and MICE sector. Hotel and tourism industry, as we all know, has been tackling it, and they will fall into the red category for a time to go. Catering and event industry, like wedding parties, seminars, and workshops. It is again, as all the panelists have been discussing, that we would be going on more of a e-platform, e-learning, e-education. Similarly, on e-workshops and e-seminars. So this kind of industry will be also in the red zone. MICE meeting incentive and conferencing, all these attract a lot of crowd again, and they would still fall into the red category. But I have put among the travel, I have put airport and railway shops and kiosks in the orange zone, because although travel will be restricted, but then when people are traveling, they would be accessing to these kind of facilities. And if they cater clean, hygienic, packed foods, then it will be a better chances of survival for them. Food manufacturing sector, I have completely put into green zone because I see this section growing rapidly. I mean, as a consulting company, we have been over flooded with calls and queries for people to try to enter into this sector, and all the other businesses which are apart from the food industry, all the other businesses which are in the red zone, they are looking for options to explore and to venture out into food. And I had been terming three industries which will grow the fastest. One is food, second is pharma, and third is IT. So these three industries is where people would want to venture out, people would want to diversify because they see their existing business, existing industry going on a slowdown, recovering very slow, and they all would need a secondary source of income. Now, when I talk about food manufacturing sector, snack and traditional Indian namkeen, these stocks, if you talk about big brands, they were always out of stock from the shelves, and they were facing shortage of supplies because of the excessive demand created. Beverage again would be in the green segment because it will be packed and comparatively safer compared to the restaurants and to the dine-outs. Dairy industry again will be booming because there will be a shift of demand towards healthier products, towards immunity boosting products, and dairy psychologically also holds the highest place in terms of good healthy lifestyle. Bakery, FMCG, cookies, rusk, puff, dry cake, all products, things they would be packed. They'll be moving out into FMCG segment, and they will be growing very rapidly. Ready to eat, ready to cook category. Also, I definitely foresee this will growing because now there are nuclear families and small families, people working. Even if they work from home, the culture of cooking at home would not continue the way it has been because of the shortage of time and the workloads and the lifestyles which we have to adopt as per the new normal. So these kind of products which are ready to cook, which are fast, convenient, and safe, would be in high demand. Spices, sauces, dips, fruit jams, pulp, all these are additives or supplements to the course where with finer tunings which can be adopted and used so that the food becomes sumptuous and food becomes easy to use. Imports and export sectors I have put in orange because of the ingredients and chemicals being imported from different countries. Now, depending on their industry, the COVID situation in the country, the transportation, the sea logistics, congestion at the ports, all these things. So this will take some time for this industry to grow. Similarly, food importers and exporters also I have put as orange. Now, one important aspect of this category or this segment is that people who had been importing from outside and were consuming local will be affected through the import. So they have to probably look at sourcing from the local options. And I am very sure there will be a lot of local companies popping up with the kind of announcements the government has declared. There would be people would be directly looking at the import data and trying to incorporate that kind of a particular industry in the Indian infrastructure. So there will be alternative coming for the ingredients or the chemicals being imported as local Indian made in India supplies. Also, the exporters who are manufacturing locally and exporting outside will also face certain troubles for a time being. So they have to look at probably exploring to sell their product in the local market because it stands as a huge population and a huge consumption area. FMCG and commercial sector. Now we have the grocery stores and the tuck shops. These are the mom and pop stores which we have in our nearby locality. And they had been operational all the time during the lockdown, and they have probably come back to a more trusted place to procure your grocery because you have a customized relationship. You order on phone and you get it delivered, or you order on phone, got it back, and just picked up and moved back to the home. So these are going to stay. Also, I think everyone has heard about the announcement from Reliance where it is coming to offline to online platform building up and connecting all these kind of stores. So they have a very strong future coming up. Big Bazaar, D-Mart, Spencer, all the modern trade have put as orange because they have huge operational costs. The kind of infrastructure they have, the kind of rental, the kind of spaces they have, and with the social distancing and the restrictions of the number of people inside the premises, they will suffer losses in terms of the optimization of the spaces or in business terms we term as per square feet conversion ratio. But then they are also coming up with all the e-portals, all the delivery platforms, and they are tying up with various delivery partners. So they will be able to optimize the same loss from the walk-ins to the e-portal, and that's why I have put them in orange. And in the times to come, they will definitely survive. Agriculture and dairy, I have put in big green because this is the category which will be highlighted the most. The moment we talk about Make in India, go local, we have had the resources, but probably we were never very vigilant or focused on the resources which we have. And now it is time
The question भी
to optimize
नहीं तो 3:30 की तो बंद हो जाएगी
disturbance. So, fishery and meat processing, as our panelists also highlighted, that there is a shift in the demand of non-vegetarian foods, and I think it's a psychological effect globally that these products will be facing issues in terms of sales in the future. So these are not the industries to venture out now, or if you're already in this kind of an industry, you have to look at the opportunities or options to diversify so that you can optimize on your expenses. E-commerce and online aggregators, Amazon, Groupon, BigBasket, Swiggy, Zomato, all these portals are again booming, although there is still a certain hesitation, but then they are advertising through different channels how safe they are, how contactless their food handling is, or how contactless their deliveries are. So they will be in the green zone and they will survive much faster. Now, just as a guideline for the food business owners, what to do who are stuck in different green and orange zones. or maybe people who are trying to venture out into food businesses and confused on how to go about it. So I am mentioning some very general to specific points as in how to move ahead. One is go back to the drawing board, understand your business model, what changes and new additions you can do at this date time. So here, flexibility holds key to the future. People who think that the way they had been doing business is the only way to survive, they will be in trouble because as we have changed our lifestyle, we have to also change the way we are doing businesses, and we have to readjust to the new situation. So it could be changing of the entire business model or maybe certain modifications model, the way we had been serving, the way we had been operating, the hygiene parameters, the sanitation, the training, the education, the training of the employees, the advertising, the marketing of the steps implemented because it will also play a very psychological role on the consumer and how are we able to influence their psychology will play a very crucial role. So then the second step is to evaluate your funds and finances. So we should not expand or we should not diversify without properly evaluating the resources which we have because times are difficult, cash flows are crippled, and the overheads which are there in the businesses will continue. There are a lot of subsidies, there are a lot of announcements, but then it depends on individual to individual, and every business has to analyze it in detail before they take a drastic step. Because I see during my experience in the industry that 70% of the businesses they actually fail within the first 1 year because of improper fund and finance planning. It's very crucial for the owners to look about study your product and customers, apply 80/20. This rule is a fantastic rule, and I had been mentioning a lot of webinars I've been doing uh, 2 months. I would like to elaborate slightly on the 80/20. 80/20 rule says that 80% of your profitability comes from 20% of the products, or 80% of your sales come from 20% products, which might hold like 70/30 true for the Indian industry. But again, we all know who are our hero products and which products are pulling us down. So this is the time to cut down on the operations of the products which are not fast moving, which are not high selling. Because if you cut down on these products, you can cut down on a lot of inventory, you can cut down on a lot of operational losses, cut down on a lot of resources which are logged in handling these kind of products, be it manpower, be it additional machinery, be it storage, be it logistics. So if we redefine our product catalog basis the demand of the COVID times, will be a lot of surplus funds available to handle the business in the next 1 year. Segregate your essential and non-essential expenses. Now, here as a business prospect, we can segregate what expenses we can probably curtail or cut down for the time being, maybe additional warehouses, maybe additional offices, maybe additional investment in new plant and machinery, maybe extra hiring of staff or staff sitting on the bench, maybe a lot of non-essential R&D. So all these things could be cut down for the time being so that you can survive this difficult time. Optimize and streamline your business operations. This is a part of the entire strategy that I've been discussing, that you have to adopt a lean model of business operations so that your overheads are limited and restricted in whatever fashion they could be. Manpower mapping, we have to do a strict manpower mapping of the businesses and analyze as in what costs could be probably saved at this point of time. Making your business COVID ready with training and audit. This is very, very important because we know that food industry deals with all types of people. We have blue collar, we have educated and the white collar staff. Now, training of the blue collar is very, very essential because there is a mindset change in the behavior post-COVID, and they are very resilient to adopt to the new. And these trainings have to be conducted regularly because we cannot expect them to learn these things in just one education or maybe one training program. So, whatever food factory or institution, they have to conduct regular training, and then post training audits should be conducted. Because the kind of threat we have is just one single case can spoil the brand name, because the kind of media attention is now on all these devices. So if one factory, for example, I have heard from the industry that factories got shut down because of one driver who came into the premises was sponsored.
Mr. Tripathi, sir, we have shortage in time, sir. Sir,
Okay, I'll just go wrap it up fast.
yes, sir, please, 1 or 2 minutes.
New business models have to be adopted, new production ideas have to be adopted, and new markets have to be explored. This is the general formula: quick response strategy, adopt the new normal, long-term plan. So there are 3 steps of the adoption. One is quick response, how we are responding now, how we are responding to the new normal for the next 1.5 years, and then long-term plan for expansion. I had prepared this presentation for detailed discussion on specific sections. I'll skip these out. Let me move only to the agriculture and dairy side. In the agriculture, I have mentioned that better utilization of crops, reducing wastage. As we know, 55 to 60% of the crop gets spoiled at the farm level because it cannot reach the proper channel. So I think this is a time where we utilize that value addition, primary processing at the root level, search for aggregators and bulk collectors where the crop could be sold, and grow all types of crops in cycles. Just don't stick to one crop, maybe medicinal, maybe herbs, maybe general crops, so that you optimize on your profitability. In terms of dairy I see automation at small root levels where we have better hygiene and better sanitation. Small pre-processing units, value-added products like dahi with incorporation of antioxidants or ice creams with nutrition benefit, immunity boosting and healthy products, so that they can fulfill to the demand. This is for the new business owners and amateur startups. I think they are the most subjected to this because they are not seasoned to handle the pressure and crisis. We as a consultant can be shout out for any requirement. There are futuristic ideas which I would want to discuss. Health-driven product range is going to be the future. Immunity boosting products, packaged, easy to eat, and food on the go. They will get a lot of attention. Plant-based milk, meat, and vegan products. I have seen a lot of demand and shift in these kind of products. Fortified dairy products, as I just mentioned. One pot meals. One pot meals. What I mean is that because now people will not be very comfortable in sharing their meals with others. So it would be if the food is packaged in such a way that it carries like a thali or maybe a meal just for one person, and you microwave it and you eat it, then you consider it comparatively much safer because you are not cross-contaminating the food. So if you need any support in this, you can shout out to us. Importance of, this is the live slide, importance of training and coaching programs for the food industry and business owners and employees. So this, because there are things which we don't know about the virus. So there has to be some expert panel who is training and coaching the people in the industry, and business owners and the employees also hold good for the students, so that they align to the requirement of the industry. We are conducting a lot of coaching programs and strategy programs which can be reached out to. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. I'm extremely thankful to you. Sir, there is 1 or 2 question. Question from Mr. Dr. Avneet Rajoria to Dr. Tanveer Alam. He's asking that what type of sterilizer and sanitizer can be used for packaging material? Over packaging material.
You know, packaging materials are different categories are there. And
Yes, sir.
if you want, I want to show one slide. You can connect the slide with my. You can take it. How we can connect the slide? Different packaging material has different formats, like packaging material, plastic packaging material, metal, and paper. And
No, sir, he's asking the what type of sanitizer can be used on
like,
packaging
okay,
material, over the
what are
packaging material.
all we cannot group in one category, because if it is a liquid sanitizer, we cannot use for the paper-based packaging system. We cannot use for the corrugated box system. If it is the plastic-based packaging system, that one by one I apply. So that way, if the packaging material is the plastic-based,
एक क्वेश्चन
then we
अशोक
can
का भी अशोक का भी क्वेश्चन
Hello? Yeah. Hello. So if the packaging material is a plastic base, then we can use with the sodium hypochlorite will be again efficient with the 5% sodium hypochlorite, and you have to dilute 1:500, and the final concentration should be 0.1%. And if if we have to go for the metal packaging material, cleaning of the surfaces, then we have to use the ethanol. 62 to 71%, with the 70% ethanol is recommended. If and similarly, another the sanitizer we have to use 80% ethanol with or 2% propanol is used. This is the both for the metal and glass and plastic packaging systems. However, for the paper system, the packaging we have to use alcohol based, because immediately it can evaporate. So we can use for the paper based of packaging or craft paper based of the packaging, we have to use 62% of the ethanol based. Any disinfectant we can use. Similarly, we can use also with the different combinations of the sanitizer we can use for the plastic based packaging material. It's based on the packaging, because we cannot for all similar type of the sanitizer or disinfectant we cannot use for the all type of the packaging material. It should be from product to product based on the format style. Right. Clear?
There is one faculty here, Dr. Ashok Yadav. He's asking that he is purchasing milk from a dairyman coming from village. So is it safe to continue milk from him?
If the using the pot milk direct without any packaging, what is asking?
Sir, he is taking milk from milkman, like milkman, loose milk. Yes, sir. Coming from
There is
village.
no packaging is involved.
No, sir.
It is not. If it is not packaging, then there is no packaging regulation, no sanitation. But definitely, if it is a pack, we can sanitize it. So whole system, this during this whole COVID lockdown period, the packaged meal is milks are preferable. The market of the packaged milk has increased. The study says, because that we can sanitize the milk pouches with the help of this ethanol solution or with the help of hypochlorite solution. The 2 and 3 different types of the sanitization we can use it. The packed pouches milk is there.
डॉक्टर तनवीर, इसको तो सीधे सीधे उत्तर ये है कि हाँ, हम वो दूध बिल्कुल लेते रहिए, सोशल डिस्टेंसिंग रखिए, दूध लेने में सावधानी वो वाली रखनी है। दूध को खौलाना जरूर है, और उन्होंने वो कर लिया तो वो दूध का रिस्क उन्होंने मिनिमाइज कर दिया। अपना पर्सनल डिस्टेंसिंग, पर्सनल केयर जो जनरल कोविड के लिए है, वो दूधिया के माध्यम से कंटामिनेशन ना हो, वो सावधानियां लेने के साथ बिल्कुल उस दूध को पिएं, क्योंकि फूड इज नॉट अ नेचुरल इनहेरेंट कैरियर फॉर कोविड-19।
There is one more
That already
question.
I have explained.
Sir,
Even the packaging material is also not directly involved in the transmission of the COVID-19.
So there is one more question, that is to Dr. Ashutosh Upadhyay and Mr. Hitesh Tripathi. One of our students is asking, what will be the impact on the placement and internship of students after this COVID-19 being normal? This question is asked by Aditya Gupta, MSc first year, DSFT. Sir.
ये प्रश्न हितेश आप ट्राई करोगे? आप करो, आप तो रिक्रूटर हो, इसलिए आप करो। चलो, बेटर है।
मैं समझता हूँ कि जो इस वक्त इंडस्ट्री में डिमांड आएगी वो उन लोगों की आएगी जो कि डिग्री के पीछे नहीं भाग रहे हैं, जो कि वैल्यू एजुकेशन के पीछे भाग रहे हैं, those who are willing to adopt to the new changes, those who are hardworking. Because since I am a recruiter, I face a lot of issues with the students that the moment they pass out from the universities, they expect a very lavish lifestyle instead of trying to focus on the work and trying on the learning. There is a huge gap between the education and the industry, and that has to be bridged in the first 2 years. So I think the first 2 years post education, students should consider as employed or salaried education. And if they are focusing on that, more focused on learning and implementation of the new learning in the industry, there is a very high potential for the students to grow. Food industry is going to boom like anything in the next 1 year or so. So there will be demand of the food technologists, there will be demand of the students, but only the best will survive.
Sir, there is one more last
What I
question.
would like to
Sir, there is one last question to Dr. Anil Kumar Punia, sir. If one student is asking, is the ice cream is safe in this COVID pandemic?
Thank you,
Sir.
Arvind. I would like to answer both these question of safety
Yes,
of
sir. Yes, sir.
eating
Yes, sir.
man and what impact COVID will have on frozen dairy products. So I take first one.
Sir.
This safety issue of taking milk directly from milkman in pre-COVID era, during COVID and post-COVID era is nearly the same. Because it depends upon a number of factors on animal health, handlers, on the container is being used, what kind of transportation is being used, and many more factors. So if everything being taken into consideration as that's our added, then it is as safe to take as it was earlier. But if at any point of time this safety is being not well taken care of, then risk increases more in COVID. Another question is of fear of these using a dairy product is only because people are anticipating that if they take these desserts and frozen dairy products, then there is a possibility of throat infection. What is being happening even in pre-COVID time. But no one can take risk even for a normal throat infection these days. So because of that reason, there was a great dip of up to 50 to 60% in these frozen dairy product market. And but otherwise, frozen dairy product or other dairy products are as safe if they are free from COVID and well taken, well care has been taken while processing. So there is no need to panic and no need to worry much. But of course, there is a decline in. And, maybe Upadhyay sir, can you add? Am I right in answering both these questions? Because these frozen dairy products, another reason is that because the street vendor, ice cream parlor, hotels, restaurant, and all they are closed, and definitely there is a sharp decline in these frozen dairy products. Could you hear me, Arvind, and other colleagues?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Sir. Sir.
But that's up.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. So in last, I am thankful to all our speakers, Dr. Punya, sir, Dr. Ashutosh Upadhyay, Dr. Tanveer Alam, Mr. Hitesh. I'm also thankful to our head of Department of Dairy Science and Food Technology, Professor D.C. Rai, sir, for inspiring us for this program. I'm also thankful to Mr. Shrey for providing this all webinar and all these services. I'm also thankful to Ms. Afsha, Mr. For all this. And last, I'm also thankful to our all audience, students, faculty members. So I'm extremely thankful to all of you. And just time to say goodbye. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you to all. Good, good.
But Welcome.